Derek, welcome to the show.
What's up, Luke, man? How we going?
Dude, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm blessed, man. Blessed, man. I'm honored to be here with my friend.
It's been way too long. I was reflecting on it since obviously we played football together at Idaho State, but the last time we played together was in 2012. Can you believe it?
It doesn't feel that long ago, and I can't believe it. I still feel young at times, but sometimes when I'm reminded when I try to run around with my kids a little bit. I'm like, yeah, it was 12 years ago.
I know. We don't have it like we used to, but man, those times back at Idaho State, we had some great memories together, and we'll get to that as we talk through this podcast today. But I appreciate you taking the time. Really, what we want to do in this forum is talk to different people,
Yeah,
yourself and others who have had a unique journey, right? Everyone has something unique that they bring to the table that provides value to others around them. And I see you're doing a lot of things in the community. You
yeah,
obviously have two beautiful sons, a wife, something that you're really proud of. Want to get to that too. But want to dive into kind of what set the stage for you as a person, right? And to do that, got to go back to who you were as a kid. If
mm,
I look at both of our upbringings, I would imagine they were very different, right? I grew up in a suburb in Idaho, small town vibe, right in the country, and you grew up in Stockton, California.
yeah.
So, as we jump in today, I want you to give us a little bit of flavor of what your childhood was like and kind of how that set the stage for you as a person.
No, man, most definitely, man. Well, born and raised in Stockton, California. Lived a little bit on each side of town. Uh, Mom raised me, mom, grandma. Dad was around, just not in the house full time. But one thing I could say is Stockton is a place where I think it's a melting pot. You have a lot of different ethnicities, different cultures. So you deal with everybody as far as it could be black, white, Chinese, Portuguese, different types of Asians, Cambodians, Hispanics. Just a melting pot of individuals. So you deal with all these people and you learn all these cultures. It makes you really aware of people. You get what I'm saying? Of
Yeah.
people. And I had a different upbringing because I might have been living in, I guess you could say, the hood. But I still, from kindergarten to sixth grade, I went to private school. So I would go to private school during the day, come to the neighborhood later on, and grew up in the church. And a mom who always installed just confidence and being just having a personality. My mom always let me. She was always letting me be myself. She never said, "Don't do that, don't do that." She just was open to the idea of me just being me, 100% through in and throughout. So that's a little bit just to not get too long winded of my upbringing in a matter of 1 minute. Stockton, California, to some people might not be the best place statistically, but in my eyes, it's the best place in the world to raise a kid.
Yeah. I mean, it made you who you are, right? So,
Yeah.
your dad's not in the house a ton. Do you have a strong relationship with him, or how did that dynamic work for you as a kid?
Yeah, no. My dad, he's a Stockton guy. One of the Stockton OGs. So, he had his own trials at times, but he's a great father. He did what he can, and I love that guy. We're closer now in adulthood than my childhood. He's one of my best friends now in adulthood. But one thing my mom never did, which I see a lot of people do, a lot of women do, she never, shitted on him. She never, my bad for cussing. She never shamed him or whatever the case is because he was out doing his thing or whatever. I had a real strong mom that always helped me keep that relationship with my father.
Yeah, that's great. How did you balance those influences? Obviously, going to private school most of the day helped you kind of stay away from some of the bad activities. Were there things that kind of tried to pull you away from that at times, or how did you balance that in your childhood?
I mean, I was a kid, so even
Yeah,
though you are living in certain neighborhoods as a kid, you're not doing certain things because you just, you're a kid still. So you might be seeing things that's going on and different activities, but at the same time, you're still a kid. So it's not like I was at private school and then coming home after school and having to dodge bullets and stuff. But it was more so just watching my surroundings, watching people do things. You might get in a little scuffle here and there, but the balance was just it was normal to me because that was my development. That was what was going on. So I didn't think of it. And then my household was always great. My mom did a
mhm.
great job of providing a stable household, keeping me in sports and a support system.
Yeah, yeah. Talk to me about sports. As a kid, what were the sports that you played, and which ones did you kind of gravitate towards too? I know you're a football player, obviously, but were there others that you enjoyed as a kid?
Yeah, believe it or not, man, baseball and basketball were my favorite sports growing up. Yeah, like, yeah, baseball and basketball. Baseball was really like my sport. Like knowing what I know now, my trajectory, if I'd have, assuming, not trying to speak too highly of myself, but I'm pretty sure if I'd have kept playing as far as skill set wise and all that, I would have went further in baseball. But it's not a lot of minorities in baseball where I'm at. So, that was, the diversity part of it. Probably, just like, man, I don't see a lot of people like me out here. I'm the only one like me. So it probably kind of, got me away from it. Basketball, love basketball to this day, man. Big Laker fan. And that was really baseball and basketball were the first sports I played. So, it was always in my heart.
Yeah, same here. It's so interesting to me because I look back on the same thing, right? I loved baseball. I loved
Yeah.
basketball. I remember shooting hoops out in the front for hours at night. It was dark
It's
outside. I'd
easier to
still be
play
shooting hoops.
basketball. Hey, look,
I
it's easier to
know.
play basketball all day. My bad for
I
cutting
know.
you off, but you can play
No, you're
basketball
good.
all day. Like, football is not a
Pickup
sport you play all day.
games. You can go down to the rec league and you just play with anybody, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Same with baseball, right? Your body doesn't take the same toll as football. And so I got to that point where I'm like, I had to make a decision, and I should have played baseball too. I was a great baseball player,
I can
but I
imagine.
loved the flashiness of football. And so I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna go play football. And that's where I ended up. So you're coming out sixth grade, you're going to private school, and then you get into middle school, high school. What did that look like for you?
Yeah, middle school, hey, that's interesting. You're doing pretty good, Luke. But middle school is like we're kind of things got a little different because I'm not at the private school no more. Was at this
Yeah.
school called Webster. And when I say the first day at school, we pulled up to the school. My mom, I'm like, looked at her like, "You want me to go here?" Like it's like a movie. She pulled up in the bus lane, and when I say kids that looked like they was about that life, man, they was full out about that life.
Wow.
He's supposed to wear a uniform. I'm the only person in a uniform. Everybody else baggy clothes, chilling,
Seventh
talking
graders, seventh
loud.
and eighth graders doing that?
Oh man, eating hot Cheetos at 6 in the morning. I'm like, what the So it was my first day, man. She was like, "You want to go back to your old school?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, "I don't want to be here." She was like, "How about this?" She was like, "How about this, man? It's your first day. Just give it one day, and we'll see how it goes." So I got out. I'm walking around, just like startled, scared. I'm like, didn't know what to expect. And then I walk
Yeah.
a little further, see somebody I know. Oh, I know them from basketball. Oh, I know them from the skating rink. Oh, I know them from the neighborhood the house I lived in once. Oh, okay, this ain't so bad.
Yeah.
So, it was just, something in my head. I'm like, oh, well, these kids are just like me. I'm just in uniform and I wasn't going to school with them. And by the second day, I was fully acclimated, not wearing a uniform.
Eating hot Cheetos right the next day, 6 a.m.
Eating hot Cheetos, well, noodles for me, but yeah, a couple noodles for me for sure. But yeah, no, that school was most definitely different than a private school. And when I say it was rough there, it was rough.
Yeah. How did that change you as a middle schooler? Obviously, that's a tough time for anyone anyway, right? You're not a kid anymore. You're not quite an adult. You're kind of in that transitionary period, going through puberty. What was that like for you?
I think looking back on it, man, it was a challenge. Not even knowing
Yeah.
it at the time, but I could have went either way. Because seventh
Yeah.
grade is when I started doing different things and hanging out with different people. And sometimes the same people I normally hung out with, but they're doing different things,
Yeah.
and that influence is kind of pulling me away from what I normally do. And I struggled with that for about from seventh, eighth, ninth, really until like the beginning of my 10th grade year, middle of my 10th grade year. I was at a space where I might have not been the person. I could have went either way. I could have went left or right. So it was a challenge looking back on it. But I mean, at the time, I didn't look at it like that. I just was living life.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, if I look at my own middle school experience, I faced similar things, right? There were a lot of kids that were doing really good things. There were kids that were not doing good things,
Hmm.
right? And there were times where I felt drawn to that in some way. It was kind of the cool kids doing risky things. Those were probably my rebellious years, right? We
Yeah,
had we were a school that was blue mascot. When we had Spirit Day, I would wear red and just do
yeah,
silly things like that just to be against the grain, right?
yeah,
I'd get in
yeah,
fights and I'd have to go be in school suspension, right? Not the person I am now, but as I was going through that transitioning period, it's hard. It's hard for any kid,
yeah,
right? So for you, it sounds like it was a pivot point, right? You get to this stage where you're starting to see people around you change,
yeah,
and you're starting to change a little bit too. You get to 10th grade and you make a choice, right? You either dive in with some of those people that maybe are negative influences, or you go the other direction. What were
yeah.
some of those things that helped you stay positive? Was it sports? Was it family? Was it a stronger group of friends? What pulled you in the right direction?
I think it was everything you just said. It was a combination of, my mom, uh, being around the right people, friends, and football, literally. Football, by that time, football, I developed a different kind of passion for it. In my ninth grade year, I actually played Pop Warner. I didn't even play high school football. That's how out there
Wow.
I was. My mom was just kind of like, "You ain't about to play like high school. You don't go to school like that." Like, I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right." But I remember it came. I had like my first semester. My GPA was horrible. I don't want to say it was probably. I'll tell you, it was like a 0.33.
Oof.
Yeah, yeah, it was something crazy. And then I remember like my counselor was like, "You're not gonna be able to play sports next year. Like you're not gonna. It's impossible." And then you have to get a 2.0. So I just started going to the weight room. Starting, some older dudes luckily took me under their wing, kind of like they seen
Hmm.
something in me. It was like just go to the weight room. And I remember it was like one of my everyday friends from seventh, eighth, and ninth grade. I was hanging out with the football guys, and he was one of the other guys. He was like, "Oh, bro, you hanging out with the football dudes now? Oh, you a square now? You a square now?" And I was like, "Oh, bro, he hating on me, bro. Like I'm
Hmm.
trying to do right. All right, I'm good. I never mess with y'all again because I'm trying to do right and y'all hating. Not
Yeah.
saying all my friends because I had some friends like, nah, bro, don't be with us. Like, go do that. You feel me? Like, you
Yeah.
got something, that we don't got. So I remember that specific moment to this day when one of my friends at the time was like, "Oh man, you boosty for hanging out with them." So that was really like my turnaround. I was like, "Oh, that was kind of like, oh, wiping my slate clean."
Yeah. No, that's huge because many times people get to those points and they choose the wrong decision. They let that peer pressure pull them back into something that's not really good for them. So props
No,
to you
100%.
for finding the right influence and
Yeah.
sticking with football. So you dive in 10th grade into football. You're working with some of the upperclassmen. Tell me more about that passion and how you started down that football journey.
Yeah, man. Like I said, like those older guys really took a liking to me and looked out for me, and I was just kind of hanging out with them. And now I'm pretty much back on track. I have some hiccups along the road throughout high
Hmm.
school still, but for the most part, I'm going down the straight path. And even if I do veer off, I don't go too far off the road. Just
Yeah.
probably in the little bop, 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 bop lane. The little bop 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 lane to
Couple
wake
little
you
bumps
up.
there.
A little
Yep.
bump lane to wake you up. So I might hit some bumps, but to wake me up, and I get right back in my lane. Played at Stagg High School my sophomore year.
Yeah.
Played one game on JV, and then the coach was like, "Hey, you too good. We got to move you up." So got
Yeah.
bumped up to varsity. Did some
Your
good things
sophomore
there.
year.
Yeah, my sophomore year, and
Okay.
then
You
they
playing
opened
just
up.
offense at that time? You playing both?
Nah, I started at receiver and corner.
There you
Yeah,
go.
like that. Second team all league. Tri City or TCal. Second team all league TCal. Um, yeah, so I play both ways: kick return, punt return, and just normal football stuff.
Sure. Yeah, that's the same exact path I had, right? I was a freshman. I played on the freshman team. I was a pretty good freshman player. Got to my sophomore year, only sophomore that played on varsity. I also
Nice.
played both ways, DB and receiver. So
Yeah.
we lived the same path, my brother.
Yeah. Now? Where'd you go again?
I grew up in Nampa, Idaho. So I played at a smaller school, 4A. 5A is the top school. 4A is like one league drop down.
Yeah.
I played at Skyview,
I know
and
about Skyview. Yeah, I used to hear it on
we
the news. Yeah.
we had a pretty good team historically. We had some rough years when I was there, but we kind of got back towards being pretty good towards the end of my senior year. So
Got you.
I mean, I loved high school football, the Friday
Yeah.
night lights. It's just a different vibe, right? It
Oh,
was
hell
so
yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So as you're playing high school football, when did you realize, you know what, I got a gift, and this is going to take me on past high school?
I knew that from the moment I started playing my sophomore year. Like when I actually started playing high school football, I knew I was
Yeah.
going to do that until I couldn't do it no more. I
Yeah.
knew that that was my calling as far as sports wise. I knew I wanted to go to college for that. And I knew I wasn't looking back after that for sure.
Okay. So do you get recruiters coming for you throughout, towards your junior senior year? How does that look for you?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Because I actually ended up transferring to Cesar Chavez, where I'm the head coach at now.
Yeah.
I transferred there because they opened up the school, so it pretty much split the district. Stagg was the original home school. They opened that up. Boundaries opened up. The neighborhood that I lived in was supposed to go to Chavez. So went to Chavez. Had some struggles as far as eligibility wise, clearing me and all that kind of stuff because I was a varsity player. One here in the CIF didn't know what to do. I don't just a
Hmm.
big confusion. But I played the last three games, did really well. And just off those three games of film, ironically speaking, the staff at Idaho State was recruiting me,
Hmm.
and a couple other schools were recruiting me, and I just didn't have the grades, so I knew I was going to junior college early.
Yeah. Was it the staff that was at Idaho State that ended up being there, or was it the staff prior with Zamberlin?
It was, yeah, Zamberlin. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. So it was the guy before that got fired, and you still got on through Kramer.
Yeah, 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 exactly. 100%. I always think about that. I'm like, damn, this is where I'm
Wow.
meant to be.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy, huh?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So you're having some grade struggles, and so you end up going to JUCO. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what was JUCO like? Did it feel like, you know what, this is a grind? I've heard some stories about JUCO. Obviously, I didn't go that route, but
Yeah.
that it's difficult. You're having to pay your own way. You're kind of living on your own. What was that like for you?
JUCO for me was most definitely a grind. You gotta want to
Yeah.
do it. You gotta
Yep.
want to. You gotta want to play football. Um, like I said, I had a supporting mother, an awesome mother. So we have a junior college that I went to and coached there called Delta College. It's right in my hometown. Sometimes that's not the cool thing to do in some people's eyes, but I didn't go there right away. I went to Butte Junior College in Chico, big
Hmm.
party town where I live right down the street from Chico State. The college is about a 15-minute drive though, in like a
Hmm.
different city. So pretty much like Idaho State to Chubbuck,
Yep.
something like of that nature, maybe a little further out. But it was about 15, 20-minute drive from where I lived at to where the college was at. But it most definitely was an experience, man. My first year there, we won a national championship.
Wow.
I played with a lot of guys that went D1 and went to, Jordan Rogers, Aaron Rodgers' little brother, was our backup quarterback, not even the starting quarterback. He was a
Jeez.
backup quarterback. Alex Green, Green Bay Packers, Danny Watkins, Philadelphia Eagles, Baylor University, Josh Bellamy, Louisville University, Chicago Bears. We had 5 corners from that team that went D1 that year.
Dang.
So, and I'm a 17-year-old boy who was real, wet behind the ear. And, at times it was real challenging because you're trying to balance finding yourself, well, not finding yourself,
Yep.
but finding yourself as a player, because I knew who I was
Sure.
as a person. Finding yourself
Yep.
as a player, where do I fit in it? Am I good enough? It was a lot of different things because at times I questioned myself because these are solidified guys. So
Yeah.
it was a challenge. But I remember, it was one practice I almost quit. And I was like, Mom, I can't do this. Like, she was like, What? She's like,
Man.
Quit. That's not even in your vocabulary. What is you talking about? I was like, I don't know if I could do this, man. They too good. She was like, Well, you're gonna finish the rest of this year. You're gonna finish the rest of this year. We already paid for your place. Just finish this year for me. I was like, all right. And then, just like anything, man, repetition, man, staying to the grind. That's what I learned in that lesson. If you keep pushing forward, you will prevail. And by the end of the year, I was successful. Even though I redshirted, I reaped all the benefits from what I came to do.
Sure. No, that's crazy you said that because I had the same exact experience at Idaho State, right?
Mm.
Coming out of high school, right? You had a lot of success in high school. I had a lot of success in high school. You get to college and you're not the big man on campus anymore, right?
At
You're
all.
not the guy at all. You're at the bottom of the barrel. For me, I was a walk-on, so I didn't have a scholarship. I was really a nobody. I had to reprove myself.
Yeah.
And that takes a big hit to your ego, right? You're like, who am I? I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I remember talking to my dad, similar how you talked to your mom, and said, you know what, Dad, I'm not sure if I can do this. I think I
Mhm.
might quit. I think I'm going to walk away. And I remember him telling me, he said, you know what, as long as you don't have any regrets, I support you. And
Yeah.
I stuck with it. That year was a grind. Obviously, I was 160 pounds soaking wet, just a little beanpole at the time. But I learned so much, ended up playing quite a bit at the end of the year, and really set myself up for the sophomore year when you came into town to end up, having success. So I think it's crazy how, you never talk about it when you're kind of going to school with guys like yourself, you and me. We never talked about this then, but we had similar challenges as we came out into a place that was unfamiliar to us.
100%, man. And that's the beauty in it all. We're just finding out now, though.
I know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So you're at Butte and then you transfer over to Delta. Is that right?
Yeah. So I was at Butte, like I said, medical redshirted, but the next year played, started, and I broke my fibia, tibia, and ankle joint.
Jeez.
Third
What happened?
game. Yeah, called a comeback from Jordan Rogers. Put the plant step, tried to put that Florida that dead
Yeah.
leg on him. My foot got stuck as he was wrapping me up. My whole twisted up,
Wow.
and it was my first break ever in my body. And after that, I was done, and didn't need surgery though. But with that, and my mom, she was living in Sacramento at the time. Her job was transferring her to LA. So with that, and having to come back, a lot of those guys did real good when I walked away, and they were freshmen too. I'm like, man, okay, well they did good. I'm gonna have to fight for that my spot back, which isn't a problem. And then her rent was gonna be a little bit more, and she was paying my rent, and now she was just like, yeah, you know what? We could live in Hollywood, we could live in Compton. It's up to you. If you want to go here. So I was like, I'll just go back home to Delta, and
Hmm.
which ended up being the best thing for me. I'm glad. I'm truly blessed and glad I went to Butte for my experience. I learned a lot, but
Yeah,
Delta was an experience like no other as well. And I did
sure,
great there, and we did great things. And I'm not gonna say I wish I'd have went there from the start, but I'm glad I ended up there.
sure. Take a step back for a second to that injury. I had a recent injury too where I ruptured my Achilles. That was my first real significant injury, and it took a toll on me mentally. When you had that break, was it similar for you where you thought, "Man, am I going to be able to come back from this?" Or did your confidence overcome that from step one?
I was such in a moment where I was just like I said, I was in Chico. So even though I had
Yeah,
a broken leg, I was kind of just hanging out, hanging
yeah,
out a little too much. When you're
yeah,
not away, when you're not at the game, you see how it feels to be a normal person. You don't have to go to practice every day. You don't have to wake up for AM weights. You don't have to go to class because your coach is going to do a grade check on you. So it was a good time. Not, probably shouldn't have been doing some things I was doing, but I didn't think about it too much at all. Like in my head, I knew I would get back. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like I didn't get no surgery, and no doctors told me anything otherwise. It was, oh, just you're gonna take time to heal, but you'll be all right. So I didn't
yeah.
think too much of it.
Minor bump in the road, but moving back to Delta sounds like it was the right choice for your football career.
Oh yeah, no, I did great. It was amazing.
So tell me about your time at Delta right before you went to Idaho State.
Delta was good, man. It was one of those things. I know some guys kind of gave me a hard time, my teammates, because we're all Delta is the place where everybody. So how JC works, I don't know if you're familiar. You probably just you watch the dramatized version on Last Chance U, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah,
it's like it's really well that might be their experiences, but in California they even had Delaney. It was even dramatized in its own. They really focus on the out of state kids. If you're an in state kid, it doesn't have to be that hard because the junior college system was created. Every area has a junior college in California for
mm,
all the kids from that area to go there.
got
You
it.
get what I'm saying? That's what they
Yeah,
were created for. Now, eventually, with recruiting and people wanting to be the best and people having a good resume, you might have somebody like myself that's going to school 2.5 hours away when I got a school literally 5 minutes from my house.
right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So my experience, all the Stockton guys and guys from the small cities were already there, and they've been building something for the last 2 years. So it's kind of like at times I feel like it's like, bro, like, oh, you too good for us. You went somewhere else. Why you want to come back now? I
yeah,
felt that. So I didn't have a coming in the spring. I didn't have a really tight relationship with everybody, and
sure.
I had to build that trust. But when it was
Yeah.
all said and done, it was awesome.
How did you build that trust? Was it through just on the field, just being great, putting in the extra effort?
Yeah, I just think that once you're around somebody and they know your intentions are pure and I'm just here to play ball and, I'm not a bad guy, I'm not a cancer, it happens
Yeah.
organically. And like I said, I grew up with most of these dudes. So it
Hmm.
wasn't too much of an issue and where I really, wanted to like, please let me in. It was just like, I'm going to class, I'm going to practice. We just, they already had their groups though, their core. And it's crazy because even when
Yeah.
I went to Idaho State, everybody already had their core. You get what I'm
Sure.
saying? Like
Yeah.
it's you already have a core here. You have a core here. You just kind of find yourself fit wherever you fit in at.
Yeah. For you, is that something, as throughout your life that you've been comfortable being alone because you've had to?
Yeah. Well, I grew up a only child until I was 11 years old when my brother was born. So I was only
Yeah.
child, and one thing about me, I'm a chameleon. Wherever I go, I can fit in. It don't matter
Sure.
what culture, what race, what if you guys are hippies or just
Yeah.
hardcore gangsters. It don't matter. I'm wherever I'm me. So when I come somewhere, it's like they like, oh man, they love my energy. I'm an energy person. I'm contagious. When I walk in a room, it's oh man, that's D Graves, man. Like it's just something different about me that I was ordained with. It's just like something in my spirit. So it don't matter where I'm at, who I'm with, I'm good. I figure it out.
Definitely. That's something I've always recognized from you. You bring energy to every room you walk into.
Appreciate that.
Different type of energy. Does that make it more difficult at times to develop deeper relationships? So when you were at Delta, when you came to Idaho State, it sounds like you were kind of on the outside, but you had energy and you'd bring that to people. But were you able to develop those deep relationships or friendships?
No, most definitely, man. I think that one thing about me when I get to like when I see somebody and we're in a certain setting, if I'm drawn to you, I'm drawn to you.
Hmm.
And some at each of those schools, I have lifelong friends. So the good thing about Delta, I had dudes that I grew up with. We went to the same high school with, or we grew up in the same neighborhood with. So it wasn't too hard of a transition. Idaho State was a little bit more challenging for me, honestly.
Yeah.
Not saying it was like a bad thing because I'm already 20 years old, already had a kid. I was already grown when I got there, so I wasn't really looking. I came here with a purpose, to get the
Yeah.
scholarship and play ball.
Sure.
But it's like the upperclassmen already had their crew, and the freshmen were coming in with each other. So I found myself hanging out more so with the freshmen,
Yeah.
and then with guys in the receiver room. If that makes sense, you know
Sure.
what I'm saying,
Yeah.
if you was in the receiver room or a freshman, I wasn't messing with you at all, at all. I'm not saying on purpose. That's just
Yeah.
how it was.
Yeah. It's so interesting, man. We had very similar college experiences, and I don't think we ever realized it. I
At
came to
all.
college. I came to college, and this was the dumbest decision I ever made. But I originally lived with my high school girlfriend at college. I didn't live in the dorms. My parents were like, "You should not be doing this. You should not be
Yeah,
doing
yo,
this,
you should
Luke."
have
And I
listened to your
said, "You know what?
parents,
I'm going to
man.
do this. I'm going to do this." So I did, and sure enough, halfway through my freshman year, we split up. So I was alone in this house now. She went somewhere else off campus, wasn't able to build friendships. And so you come in my sophomore year, and I'm actually still living on my own entire sophomore year. So I would go to our meetings, I would play practice, I'd go back to
Bro,
my
I wish y'all have
house
known that. I was paying all this
and
money
be
in
on
the
my
dorm.
own.
I spent
Yeah.
all this money in the dorms. Goddamn, Luke, why didn't you tell me?
That I think as I reflect, that's one thing I've always struggled with, and I'm getting better at it now.
Yeah,
But it's being vulnerable enough to share things about yourself where you're a
yeah,
little bit self-conscious about it, right?
no,
Like
for sure.
I'm living alone. Is that weird? I know all these people are in the dorm. I don't want to like butt in where I don't fit in. I didn't build those friendships as a freshman. So
Yeah.
can I insert myself now? It feels a little bit awkward. It sounds like you were doing the same thing. So man, it's tough. It's tough to look back on it and be like, I wish I would have said something. I wish I would have been more open to
No, yeah.
build stronger friendships. Part of
Mhm.
it's being vulnerable yourself, but I just wasn't.
Yeah, no, it happens. But we go through these kind of things. So you have a daughter, right?
Yep.
So you're gonna be able to install everything that you went through, and that's how I look at life. I don't live with no regrets. Everything that I went through was for my kids and the kids that I coach and anybody that I mentor. For you, that's for your little girl and anybody that you mentor. It's for the people that's listening to this podcast. And your experience is gonna help thousands of people. Even if it helps one, your experience is gonna help somebody. That's all that matters. Because you can handle.
Exactly.
God knew you can handle it. You feel me? He knew
Yeah.
you can handle it. So that's why you
Absolutely.
went through it, and that's why you're here and you're here to share your story. So, amen to that.
Absolutely. That's what the whole forum is here, right? Everybody has a story to share, something unique about what they went through and what they faced that can help somebody else doing the same thing.
Yes, sir. Come on now.
So as you reflect on the time at Idaho State, you came from Delta, you came into this program at Idaho State that was struggling, right? We had a lot of tough years.
Yeah.
What were the things that you as a person look back and you're like, man, I really am so proud of myself for getting through some of those times at Idaho State?
Man, the biggest thing that I was happy about, I got my degree. I always said I was going to get my degree, but coming from a guy who graduated from high school with like barely a 2.0, like 1.9, 2.0, and I graduated with 3.0, that was a blessing. I was
Wow.
the first person in my family to graduate from college. So, just changing that narrative was the best thing for me. As far as other things, I was really happy I accomplished, like, just playing football and earning a full ride scholarship.
Yeah,
That was the goal I set out to be. But as far as other struggles, I didn't have too many that I recall that really affected me.
sure. Yeah. So at what point, through your college career, was the goal to play in the NFL at some
Yeah,
point?
no, most definitely. That was most definitely a goal.
Yeah.
Knowing what I know now, you got to do a lot of things differently,
Yeah.
and I think I had the right mindset, but if you don't know how to chase something, sometimes it can hurt you. You get what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah. So at what point did you realize like, yeah, that's not my goal? And the reason I ask is because I feel like for me, the transition from sports into a life after sports where all you've done is be competitive, chase this passion of wanting to compete at a high level and realize that's no longer coming to fruition and having to figure out what's next. I think it's very challenging for a lot of athletes. What was that
No,
like for you?
man, it was most definitely. So right when I got done playing at Idaho State, that abrupt end,
Yep.
and then I went to South Dakota School of Mines as a grad transfer. So I played one more year. The NCAA granted me another year.
Yep.
So after all that, I pretty much was just chasing the grind, trying to make it to the league, trying to make it to the Canada, CFL, AFL, whatever came about. I was going to the regional combines, going to tryouts, working out for scouts at Delta, and just chasing it, And I realized that I didn't have a free agent. I knew I wasn't going to get drafted, but didn't get a free agent deal. And after that, I said I need to be around the game still. And my old college coach from Delta, receiver coach, got the OC job at College of the Redlands or Redwoods. College of the Redwoods is way up north in Northern California. Wanted me to be the receiver coach, and Coach Barlow at Delta, the head coach at the time, they had the position open. So I
Hmm.
interviewed for both of them, and luckily I got the job. Well, blessed enough to get the receiver coaching job at Delta, and that kind of started my coaching career. I thought it was going to be a 1 year thing, and because I was going to do this and go play football again. And
Right.
I did get picked up after the season by a couple teams, and I just abruptly just stopped playing. Like I don't want to play no more. I don't feel like doing this no more. So
You just got burned out.
yeah, man. So I was with the during that also I was with the LA Kiss on their practice squad. It was an AFL
Yeah.
team, and then
Yep.
I got picked up by an indoor football team, the Colorado Ice.
Mm.
Had a really good practice one day, and um, I caught I think I caught 3 touchdowns, right? And my boy Roundtree, he played at University of Michigan. Roy
Okay.
Roundtree was a great receiver for them. He caught that game winning touchdown versus Notre Dame a couple years back, number 12. We
Yep.
kind of got a similar build, body type, or whatever. I had 3 touchdowns the first practice. The coach was like, "Hey, Roundtree, great job today, man, on those touchdowns in that corner route." And he was like, "Oh, that was Graves." He was like, "Oh, hey, good job." I'm like, "Fuck."
Oh, what the heck?
I'm like, I just then and I kind of kept telling my roommate, this dude named Julian, we still in contact. I was like, bro, they about to cut me, bro. Like I just balled, and they didn't even care. I think they brought me in for a camp body,
Yeah.
so I got cut by them, got picked up by the Billings Wolves, and I had a great practice. Right, I was out there for went back home to my mom's for 2 weeks in LA, went to Billings, had a great practice, and I told whoever my roommate, some black dude from Florida, D lineman, I was at one practice, I killed it. Like probably the best practice I ever had in adulthood. I was like, "Hey, bro, I'm done playing." He was like, "What?" He was like, "Man, you balling, man. We got a game on Friday, Saturday. We got a game." I was like, "Bro, I'm done. Like, it ain't for me no more." So
Yeah.
my end wasn't so much like, I walked out on my own 2 feet. So I could say I
Yeah.
was happy about that. And then went to Vegas and had a good time that weekend.
What were some of the things that you're like, you know what, I feel like now I want to shift my focus. I've done everything I can from a football perspective. I want to start spending time family again, make family kind of top of mind for you.
Yeah.
Spend time with your kids that you're starting to have now in your later 20s. When did that shift for you? And what were the things that pulled you into new
Literally,
directions?
I don't know what happened. I was at that practice, and after that practice, I don't know if I was. I don't want to say no. It wasn't. I think it was just me being in an apartment with no TV, just sitting there, like, bro, what am I doing? Like, my
Hmm.
son is 3 years old. I've been chasing this for a while. I felt like I gave the game my all, right,
Hmm.
and I felt like it was time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Things happen. I gave them all. I was blessed enough to play from the age of 7 to 24. And another thing that really helped with that was I just got done coaching at Delta. So while I was chasing, I was still coaching.
Hmm.
So that really fulfilled me, and I actually enjoy. I'm like, damn, I get the same adrenaline and the same feeling from coaching by helping people. Like I
Yeah.
helped. This dude couldn't do this right, and we worked on this for the last 2 weeks, and he just had success in it. I'm like, that was amazing.
Hmm.
So just that feeling of coaching and be able to help people. I've always wanted to help people, so I think that was kind of like God was kind of aligning me for the walkout.
Yeah, that's huge, man. If I look at my own path, right, I decided to walk away after college. I didn't go and do the tryouts like you did. So you left it all on the table.
Yeah,
And then you said, you know what? My purpose is to continue to give that to other people. Often I think people, as they walk away from something, whether it's sports or something else, they struggle in finding that next step, that purpose of where they're supposed to be. And it sounds like that was placed right in your lap, and it felt pretty easy. As you came into coaching, what were some of the things that you felt differentiated you as a coach versus others that are coaching today?
That's a good question, man. One thing, even when I didn't like, it was never growing up. I never said I want to be a coach. I want to be a
Mm,
coach. My whole thing was I just wanted to help people, and I
yeah,
didn't know what form that was going to come in. Sometimes I wanted to say, hey, I want to be a cop or fireman, But for some reason, I always respected my coaches. Always took a liking to all my coaches, and I always studied my coaches without even me even realizing. That's the crazy. Like I always like one of our coaches would do something. I'm just studying them.
yeah,
I study people in general, like literally, I'm a sociology major. So, but I just always study my surroundings, always study people. I think growing up in Stockton, you got to be aware of what's going on when you go to
sure.
certain environments. You have to be. But for coaching, I always study them and like, man, if I ever coach, I'm never going to do that, or I use that one. So I think one thing about me is, my mom, like I said earlier, my mom installed a confidence in me to always be myself.
Hmm.
So I always wanted to be myself and just do right when I became a coach.
Absolutely. There's this quote about being a coach, and it says, "A good coach can change a game. A great coach can change a life."
Woo!
And
Mm,
I think about that all the time, right? I was fortunate enough to have really great coaches
hmm
that not only instilled me to be a great player, but instilled me to be a good person outside of athletics. And there were coaches that I had along the way that weren't that way. And I know not everyone's experience is with positivity around coaching.
Yeah.
So as you work with these young men in high school in very transformative years, how have you seen some of your coaching impact them, whether it's their mental health, whether it's their confidence? What are the things you look on and you're like, yeah, I did that and I'm proud of that work?
In the moment, especially I was a young coach, you
Mhm.
just work hard for the kids. Sometimes I don't even know what I was doing as far as, just being a young dude and trying to help them. And so when I say I don't know what I was doing, it's like, yo, like, how am I supposed to go about this situation? Hey, coach, man, my girl and this. I'm like, damn, like we have football practice. Why are we talking about this? Like,
Yeah,
I never made football too. Like growing up, I just never brought my personal life to football. That was just me though. So
sure.
now I'm trying to find that balance of how do I balance football and real life and all this. And I just would say that I always wanted to just help them and just make sure I give them the best version of myself. So trying to get back to the question, um, the main thing is really just being authentic to yourself, and when you giving them advice, just helping them find themselves at the same time. And even in
Yeah,
the moment, I might not know what I'm saying or what I'm doing, but or if I'm doing a good job, that's what I would say. I don't know if I'm doing a good job, but the thing that really helps me, I'll get a text message or a call or an Instagram message like, Coach, man, you changed my life, man. Thank you for this and this and this. I'm like, damn, I did that. Yeah, Coach, I remember you said this and this and this. And my whole thing is just being 100% organic and pouring into the kids,
yeah.
just giving them all.
That authenticity is key, right? Just being yourself, and even if you make mistakes, right? Even if you make failures, whether it's in coaching or life, accepting those and being open to the kids to say, you know what, I made a mistake, or this is who I am, makes them feel like they can do the same thing, right? So they
Yes.
can be authentic. They can get over some of the hurdles they're facing because they see you doing it too.
Mm-hmm. No, most definitely, man. And I always try to be organic and authentic with my experiences. So,
Yeah.
just give them that real me, give them that real and lead by example. And also, if I don't have the answer, not being ashamed to say, I don't know how to help you in this, but I can find out. Let me ask some
Yep.
people and getting back to them.
Yeah. Being a guy that can go out and be the answer for them. So you start to get into coaching and you make your way to become the head coach at Kimball High School. How did that
Yes.
happen?
Man, honestly, it chose me. They had a coaching change, and somebody reached out to me and said, "We really think you should apply." And they hit me on the Super Bowl when Snoop was doing the Crip Walk, whichever one.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
I was relaxing. I just got done. Me and my family and friends left a nice Airbnb in the mountains, and I come back and I get this long message. I'm like, bro, why are you hitting me with this right now? Like, I never had aspirations being a head coach. Just throw
Yeah.
that out there. Like, I just wanted to. I was good with doing my position, and kind of. But I guess they seen something in me that I didn't see in myself, and reached out. I did the interview, had some meetings, and it kind of just chose me. I would say, so I'm glad that person seen something to me that I didn't see in myself.
Going from being an assistant coach, position coach, to being a head coach is quite a leap, right? A lot of different things you have to manage. Were you able to lean on any mentors or people that you've had from previous coaching experiences to help you through that?
No, most definitely, man. I had a lot of conversations
Yeah.
with previous coaches. Coach Gary Hyman, he was my receiver coach at South Dakota School of Mines. Coach Barlow was a head coach at Delta. Just Coach Murray was the defensive coordinator when I was at Delta. Guys that I look up to, and that were mentors in my life, and just kind of ask, being able to lean and give them a call and sit down with them whenever I had a question or concern.
Yeah.
Another thing is having a great staff. The staff that I wasn't able to hire my staff, they came with the job, and I was fortunate enough for that.
Yeah.
It's a great group of men on that staff. Coach Adrian Ramos, Coach Sowers, Shannon Sowers, and those guys really helped balance me, and it helped me through that first year, tremendously.
So coming in as a head coach, what were some of the philosophies that you brought in to have the success you did, right? Kimball had a lot of success under you.
Yes, sir.
You made it to the playoffs. What were
Mhm.
some of the things that you brought to the table that helped them get to that level?
Most definitely, man. Just trying to teach them that it's bigger than football. Whatever you do in life, how you do anything is how you do everything. So,
Mm.
main thing is trying to bond those kids. We did a lot of team bonding early on. We did a lot of different activities just to bring them together and break bread because as you've seen, if you're a separated team and you really don't know each other like that, it's just
Mhm.
like, oh, we're just here playing football. You don't care if that dude get cracked in the mouth. You don't care
Mhm.
if that person get killed in the game, and it's like, oh, I did my job. No, we got to do our job, but we got to make sure I'm doing it more than just me. I'm doing it for my brother. You get what I'm saying? So team bonding was a big thing, and just installing that hard work. And it sounds cliche because everybody is it, but hard work, dedication, always willing to improve. We're not going to be perfect. We're
Sure.
not going to be the best players every day on every day. But if we thrive and try our hardest and give effort on and off the field, it's going to align when we get into the game. You know what I'm saying? So really, I
Absolutely.
always preach effort, 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 effort. That's the main thing.
Yep. I love it. So you have success at Kimball. You get a call, you get a text, someone reaches out. We want you back at Cesar Chavez High School, your alma mater, where you finished up your career in high school. What was that like for you?
Honestly, man, I was good at Kimball. I was
Yeah.
good there. I worked on campus. It was simple. I didn't
Yeah.
have to. We just went to the playoffs back to back years, and
Yeah.
we're building. But you know, I got that call and that text, and I knew the job was open. And what I can say is, it's not a sexy job on paper. You know, you go from being a game away from the section championship, and you know, uh, 2 games away the following year, and you could be in playoff contention the following year. To hear a school that you went to, it's intriguing, but they were 0-10.
Hmm.
But what I can say is that I was being led by the spirit. I felt like it kept tugging at me, like, why not Chavez? I'm good
Yeah.
at Campbell. I don't need to go. And it's, why not Chavez? They need you.
Yeah.
They need you. So I just kept on, in the back of my head. And um, I'm really glad I took it, man. So, calls were made, and, I applied, and it was the best thing for sure.
Yeah. 0-10. So you got yourself a job ahead.
Yeah, no, for sure. But what I can say is, just in my short time, we just started lifting weights last week. These kids want to be coached. I
Hmm.
don't think they were, they're 0-10, but when you watch on film, the talent isn't 0-10. I think when you have bad leadership, which was in the previous regime, horrible leadership from what I hear and what I see, it's kids. They're kids. If the kids didn't need adults, we wouldn't have coaches. Grown men at the NFL are the best players in the world, and they need a coach. You get what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
these kids that I'm here with right now are great kids. They want to be coached. They want to learn. They want it. So and I can say that with all confidence in the world. These last 3 days in the weight room have been amazing. I've been proud to go to the weight room. I've been energized to go to the weight room. And, we don't have the most numbers right now, but the core group we do got, other guys are playing other sports, and some guys probably are just hanging out. I'm excited. I got that. I'm rejuvenated.
Yeah. It's not going to be easy. It's a challenge ahead of you, right? And
No, for sure.
you've got the conviction to say, you know what? I know it's going to be a challenge, but
Hmm.
I'm willing, and God's purpose is for me to be here right now.
Come on, stop playing.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. So as you come into this new program, what are the things you want to instill in these young men? Right. Obviously, you're starting the weight room. What else are you going to be doing to help get them and others in the community into the program to build something great?
Well, just making them believe and see the vision, man. So right
Yeah.
now, my first meeting got this little paper right here. You know, this it was my first notes. I keep it right here, just to look at it. It's right here. So my whole saying is, me and my brother came up with it. My brother, Coach Nelson, Demarie Nelson. You know, he's my assistant head, but we came up with a saying called "lifers," right?
Mm-hmm.
Little things is the L, right? I, intensity. F, family. E, education. R, response. S, success, right? If we focus on the little things, we're intense on and off the field, in the weight room, right? And we make it a family environment, and we focus on education. Education is the biggest thing, right? Without education, you can't do anything. And response, how are we going to respond when something goes good or bad? Because it's not what you do, it's how you do it. When you get hit in the mouth, are you gonna stay there, or you gonna respond back, accordingly? You get what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
success, we're not always gonna have the success that we want, but our response is gonna help us with that success. And when we are successful, we're gonna see how that feels. So my biggest thing right now is lifers. That's what I made the page say, and that's what our motto is, and that's gonna be the motto of the next 20 years of this program, Black and Gold. We're lifers. We're Titans for life, and when we say that, we're all in. So just bringing the community back. It's a great location. It takes a bulk of North Stockton, as far as uh, boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
So just getting the community excited again, man. This is I graduated. I was the first graduating class from Chavez. Met my wife at Chavez. Played
Wow.
football at Chavez. So it's really in me. Yeah. I know I was away from a few years, but when I announced I got the job, my brother announced it. Posted on his story and all that to IG. The community rallied. They were excited. It was like the talk of the town. Just
Yeah.
because of who we are and what we do in the community. And to go back to our alma mater, it was a big deal for a lot of people.
Yeah.
We went on campus, man. Teachers are crying. Like, you guys came back.
Wow.
You guys came
Wow.
back for us. I'm like, yeah, we back. And I was like, so it was really deeper than
Yeah.
what I ever anticipated. I went back because I felt like it was my calling, and I was getting led that way, but it was way bigger than I could imagine, man. And these kids really needed a positive role model.
Yeah. It's just the beginning, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Little things. I want you to talk to me what that means for you because I think often that is overlooked as something that's important.
No, most definitely, man. I was a guy. I had to do the little things right.
Yeah.
Right. I wasn't the tallest, wasn't the biggest, wasn't the strongest. For sure, wasn't the fastest. For sure, wasn't the fastest. But little things like going to bed early. Right. Going to bed, putting the right things in my body, not drinking, not smoking. I think by me doing the little things, I was able to get to where I got to. And
Yeah.
continuing to this day. Instead of going out, I'm gonna spend time with my family tonight. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going over here, instead of using this time to be on my phone, I'm like, man, even though I'm tired, had a long day, let me just go across the street and play catch with my kid. Let me just play catch right here because I'm so worn. I'm gonna play catch with my kid right here. So those
Mm-hmm.
little things, and just sitting at the biggest little thing I do in my household as a family. I know I'm all over the place, Luke, but I'm excited.
I
The,
love
the
it.
big little thing that I do is every night we sit as a family at the dinner table. Growing up, I never sat at the dinner table. My
Wow.
mom made the food. I went in my room. She went in her room.
Wow.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's not saying we were like, just, but that wasn't a big deal to us. But little things by us sitting at the table together and breaking bread goes a long way. How
Yeah.
was your day? At the table, we're sitting together, we're ending the day like this. How was your day? How's everything? You learn a lot about your kids right there and your wife, and they learn a lot about me. It's the little things that count. So I'm whole thing with little things with them. If I say, hey, don't, hey, feed off the line, right? So some people it's not a big deal. It's just a line. But what's gonna happen in the game when the referee says, hey, I'm gonna give you a warning. If you say a cuss word one more time, we'll kick you out. If that. Oh, little things. Watch out. To you, it's not a big deal, but to the world, it is. Now you're kicked out the game. Your brother's got to suffer because you're one of our best players and you're not in. Little
Mm-hmm.
things.
Yep. It's so key. I think if you look at some of the best coaches that have ever done it, right? We have Nick Saban, little things, right?
Yeah.
Bill Belichick, little things. Two of the best coaches that have ever done it. And if you're coming from the angle of Cesar Chavez High School, a program that's 0-10, you're not going to have success overnight because you just don't have the amount of people. You don't have the same maybe athleticism that's kind of a full collective unit like other schools do, right? And so you have to find other ways to win. And to do that, little things are that first step to do so, right? Both of us experienced similar things throughout our athletic careers, right? Where we weren't necessarily the fastest or the biggest or the best players, but we put in the work. We did the extra sprints. We did the
Mm-hmm.
extra reps on the workouts, right? And just doing
Yeah.
those little things, running the routes a little bit more crisp to set yourself apart from maybe the other person who's being sloppy.
Yeah.
Those things are so important and can have great impact on the success. So really excited about what you're going on here. It's so cool to see your coaching journey evolve and you being able to find your purpose and go back to your high school. It's amazing, man.
No, most definitely, man. I want to ask you something. If this okay?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I said it before on my story, but I just want to know how you felt in that moment. When you got your scholarship, man, I said my best moment at Idaho State was when the walk on hard worker Luke Austin got a scholarship, a full ride scholarship. We were in the meeting room,
Yeah.
and Coach Tucker walks in. Hey, look, go see Bailey, and you were like, okay, everything good? Yeah, you just got a full ride scholarship. The whole room, just was so excited, man. How did you feel in that moment?
Dude, I honestly, it's one of those things where I like almost blacked out because I was like, it finally came to fruition. It was one of those things where my freshman year I come in and I was a preferred walk on, right? And they said, you know what? You've played this year. I started the last 5 games of my freshman year because there were some injuries. I played pretty well. They're like, we're going to give you a scholarship. They get fired. No scholarship. I'm like, I'm back at square one.
Yeah,
I come in, I play all spring. There's nobody on the team, right? Everybody
yeah,
leaves because the coaches quit, and I play every rep of spring. Kramer comes in, he's like, we're going to give you a scholarship. No scholarship. I start my sophomore year. I come into the into that initial meeting room, like we're all meeting each other for the first time. It's fall ball, bottom of the depth chart, right? And so all of these things in my mind, it kept saying, you're going to keep getting knocked down. You're going to keep being counted out. And so when I finally got the scholarship, it was like, man, I had so many other moments where I thought I was going to get the scholarship.
yeah,
And so it was very exciting for me, but I
yeah,
also, it was a huge sigh of relief because I'd put so much effort and so much emotional up and down for me
yeah,
that it finally came to fruition. And, it was just icing on the cake. So
yeah.
big journey for me to get there, but it was,
I used
once
to
I
be
got
at
it, no looking
practice
back.
like I'm like, why isn't he starting this? He could play.
Yeah.
And then that next year you ended up starting though. So
Yeah. I don't know, man. That year when we had Coach Tucker, that changed me forever, right? He was such a
oh,
great coach. The little things, the little route, the little hip movements,
Tuck was
man,
crazy.
he taught me so much.
Hey, do you remember he used to have us rolling in snow at 4 in the morning?
Yes, I do.
Oh man,
It was rough.
it was cool though. I love.
Running hills because Kai Campbell couldn't do his thing.
Yeah. Rod would show up late.
Rod would show up late, and
Oh
Rod had to
wait,
do
I
the
oh
Jacob slider.
I didn't go to study hall one time. And I made the whole group, but it's
Yeah,
all a part of the journey.
all part of the journey, man.
Yeah,
Great days, great times. It was awesome. So,
for sure.
all right, man. We talked a lot about football, but want to talk a little bit about your family, right? You have 2 beautiful sons. You have a beautiful wife. Tell me about them.
Man, they're amazing, man. I don't know if you remember Baby Derek when like I used to
Yeah,
bring him around a
he
little
came
bit.
up to Idaho State a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So they ended up moving out there my senior year, but literally, man, my wife and my kids saved my life, man. And I was already on the right path, but they just keep me grounded. They keep me on a narrow path. They remind me every day when I see them,
yeah,
of who I want to be and who I thrive to be and continue to be. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I love my family dearly, man, and they really keep me grounded and they keep me aligned for sure.
yeah. So obviously, you had a different relationship with your dad growing up. For you, as a father, right? What are the things that you want to ensure that you do and help your sons learn?
Man, just how to be a great young man, a great person. My biggest
Yeah,
thing is be a great person. Treat everybody with respect, be kind to others, help people when they're in need, and just don't be a butthole, man. Somebody always has it worse than you, and you need to be humbled and appreciative of everything that you're blessed with. All the ability that God has gave you to awesome parents. A lot of people, might include myself, didn't grow up in a 2-parent household.
Hmm.
Don't take that for granted. You know, a lot of your friends might not have 2-parent households. So just being a great person, man. I think sometimes we make it harder than what it is. If you're a great person, you just focus on the little things, just being kind to people and helping
Yeah.
people. You know, that energy is gonna come back, and God's gonna bless you for
Yeah.
sure. So that's my biggest thing, is just have them be kind to others and be good
Sure.
people.
Your oldest, Derek, how old is he now?
12 about to be 13, man. Oh,
Wow.
so
How's
it might go
that? You got a
perfect.
teenager, my friend.
Oh man, my little dude growing up on me, man. It was
Yeah.
cool. It's good that he's growing up older, but we grew up together. I had him
Yeah.
when I was a baby. I was 20 years old, and but some of my greatest moments came because of that little dude. I remember my first touchdown at Delta. I dropped my first pass at Delta, and then the coach was looking at me crazy. And then it was like a movie. I look at Vanessa, she's pregnant at the time. I'm like, man, I got to do it for my son. Next play, scored a touchdown.
There you go.
In my first touchdown at Idaho State, my wife, my son, and my mom all came down. I had the broken finger from the NAU game, and it's like, my son here, I got to play. Like, he was just the reason why I played that game, because I wasn't
Hmm.
supposed to play because they said I needed surgery. I just taped it up and caught a one-handed touchdown versus Portland State. So just my family is my why, man. Truly, just everything about them, man. I love them so much. Derek and Dash is my world. My wife is my backbone, and I appreciate them.
That's awesome, man. So for kids these days, he's almost 13, as you said.
Yeah, yeah.
What's that look like for them? Because we grew up in a very different era, right? And so, what are some of the struggles that he's facing, and how are you helping overcome some of those?
You know, struggle is his biggest struggle is like, man, I want this color dry fit Nike Tech outfit.
Yeah.
Or oh man, I need a haircut. Like, I need a
Yeah.
haircut, Dad. That's just, or hey man, can you order my True Height vitamins from Amazon? He's been saying his struggle is stuff like that. He
Yeah.
doesn't know much of a struggle, and I
Yeah.
think that me and my wife do a great job of supporting both our kids, and kind of like my mom did for me. That and I just think we're just taking it to another level. If when there is a struggle, it's just a feeling. Move on
Yeah.
from it. He had the sports career, his young sports career. You might not start this game. You might not play this much here. But what are you gonna do about it? You gonna complain or you gonna work?
Yeah.
Okay. No matter what's going on, you have the power to turn that around. So we really do that. Like, he knows he could do anything. And anytime when he doesn't do something, he knows that because he ain't putting in the work or he ain't doing it. But I think the biggest struggle is homework too. God damn, his homework be killing us. Just
Yeah.
his school is a higher academic school, but he takes his academics serious, and he has a 3.0, 3.4 last semester. So he works really hard, and I'm proud of him.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm curious on your parenting philosophy around helping your kids make sure that they stick with something, right? Sticking with sports and being part of a team, but also letting them have some of their own decision making, right? Whether they want to do something creative, whether they want to be in music or do something that's maybe outside of something you've done in the past. For me as a parent, sometimes I struggle with that, right? I want my daughter to play soccer and play sports and be athletic, but then she wants to be super artistic and she's great at it. And so I have to let go a little bit and let her do her own thing. How do you feel about that from your parenting philosophy perspective?
I just think that, as long as it's something that's positive and intrigues them, of course we want them to do what we want them to do. And
Yeah.
we need to do that because you're still a kid at the end of the day, but we got to find that balance. So
Hmm.
we got to meet each other halfway. Like, I haven't really came in that situation where my son wanted to play piano or, go be in a band or whatever the case is. But if that day does come, I'm ready for it. If that's what you want to do, let me buy you one. Let's get you a lesson. Let's see if you like it, and just attacking it. If they feel like that's what they're meant to do, we'll go all in on it.
Yeah.
So I'm the dad that, oh, dad, we're in baseball, blah 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 blah. I want to, I need to hit off the tee more. I'm the dad that buys the tee and buys the net. Okay,
Yep.
cool, set it up. Then I'm the dad that comes home with a $400 bat, and my wife was like, "Why would you do, man? He needs the bat. He needs the bat, babe. That's
You only
four
get
hundred.
one chance. You only get one chance
He
with your
said
kids, right?
$400, babe. He has a perfect bat, babe, but it's highlighted. It's a highlighter bat. Why not?
Yeah.
So whatever. I think I'm gonna encourage any parent, if their kids want to do something, let them dibble and dabble with it. They might not even end up doing it, but it might end up being something that changes the world and changes their life. So I would say give any kid opportunity. but always keep the main thing the main thing. The main thing right now for us is football and baseball.
Hmm.
You want to try something else? Well, we could try it, but that's the main thing for now until we find out, what you really want to do.
Yeah. What's next for you? You've got a big role ahead of you, right? You got to rebuild this program. You've got a
Hmm.
beautiful family. Are there other things you're working on? Other things that are priorities for you right now?
Man, nah, man, just I'm just being me, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. I've come to the age where I'm 33, going to be 34 this year, and life is short. I'm just trying to spread love, positivity, help people, help young people, help adults, and just improve my family while doing so. Keep installing core positive values in them, and just being an example for the community. It's not a lot of people in my community that look like me that have my circumstances.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, it's not a lot of men that marry the mother of their kids all the time. So, and just be a positive example, helping people in less fortunate situations. So,
Yeah.
I know I'm a pillar in my community. I know I'm an example in my community, and I don't wear that lightly. So, what's next for me is just continuing and improving myself as an individual, continuing to help people,
Hmm.
and really that's it, man. Just take everybody who's in my circle around the greatness, and while I'm taking myself there. So
Love it.
I'm dealing with you're not dealing, but I'm dibbling and dabbling with a little more content stuff online, just messing around, and just because I think it can help people.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It was one of those things that I always was kind of like trying to stay away from, but I wanted to challenge myself to get out there a little more this year.
Yeah.
And just show the people me, because I think for so long I just gave you a still shot, and because you were we spent a lot of time in the same rooms and some parties together at Idaho State. I have a loud personality, and
Yeah.
I think I'm really comfortable enough to share that with people. You get what I'm saying? I'm comfortable
Absolutely.
enough. If you're with me, if you're somewhere, I'm not gonna hide it, but I feel like I've come to a place where I know how to put that online, where at the same time, you're still gonna have respect for me, and you still know who I am as a man. So that's my biggest thing, is just being myself, enjoying life, and taking care of my loved ones.
It's authenticity through and through, man. I mean, I see you on social media with your team in the locker room dancing after the game. Like, that was you 10 years ago. That is you
Yeah,
now, right? That will always be you.
yeah,
And I love that.
most definitely, man. And
Yeah.
it's like I said, man. Shout out to Lori Ann, my mom. She installed that in me from a young age. Just be you.
Yeah.
Be you, and just don't you really don't care what people think. But I do care what people think. Not to the degree like, oh, I don't want to do this because they're gonna probably laugh at me. I don't care about that, but I do care about how these kids see me in the community. I do care
Hmm.
about being a good example for them. My
Absolutely.
kids and other kids, and other and other adults and peers, etc. You feel me? So
Yeah.
I don't wear that lightly, like I said before. But yeah, man, like you said, that's always been me, man. Just being me, being energetic, being, having fun and living life. But at the same time, it's the time to be serious, and it's the time to not play,
Yeah.
having that balance, So even though, I mean, you might have a different view of me, but I always felt like I was always one of the hardest workers on any team I was on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, even though I'm energetic, like, we ain't playing. You feel me?
Yeah. No, you were a great hard worker. You were a great player. You were one of the
Think
best on the
so?
team. Yeah, you were good, man. I was like, man, you got some good hands. Your hands were better than mine. I had a few more drops than you. I was like, shit.
Well, yeah, man. When you're diving 30 feet to catch a diving ball, you're gonna drop some of those. You laying it out there, Luke.
Yeah.
That effort. You're not gonna
That's
catch
how
it all
you
across.
that's how you separate yourself, right? That
Yeah, that
effort that
the
others
little
wouldn't.
things.
Yes.
Luke did the
Yes.
little things. Luke would dive for that ball, man. He would go all out, man. I'm telling you.
Yes.
So nah, man. Just continuing to be myself and improve myself every day.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing. Reading more books, trying to go to bed earlier. Trying to keep a workout regimen where I'm consistent, and spending that quality time with my family as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. I got a few rapid fire questions for you. I want to shift over to those real quick.
Yeah, let's get it, because I only got like 15% battery, but we good.
All right, let's go. Let's go. All right, you're the one athlete that you look up to most across all sports, and why?
Pros, not pros, whatever.
Whatever.
LeBron
Biggest
James.
influence on you, LeBron
I'm
James.
saying
Why?
LeBron James, just because he wore so much from such a young age, and what he
Yeah.
does off the court, as far as entrepreneurship and helping people, is really inspiring.
For the record, LeBron James is my favorite player as well. So
Like, wow, come on.
I try to watch every game. That dude still can ball. It's crazy.
You're a Laker fan, right?
I was never a Laker fan until LeBron was there. So
It works. It
now I'm a
works.
Laker fan.
Yeah.
All right, your favorite snack?
Damn.
You said something about hot Cheeto noodles. What was that?
No, that was back in the day. Like I've
Yeah,
evolved. So back in the day was probably like the little some sour candies.
yeah.
All throughout college, high school, college, until about 5 years ago, Maracha noodles, beef flavored. And as of recently, I would say my favorite snack right now is it's a drink actually. It's a peach mango Celsius.
There it is. There it
Yeah.
is. All right, next one here is what is your favorite wellness practice? So working out, meditating, reading, what is something that you do around wellness?
I would say waking up early and just going to the gym and listening to an audiobook or a positive one of those random motivational YouTube videos while I'm working out. I would think that was it, as far as, just I could really just get in that mode and start the day off. I would say starting the morning off with a good audiobook or motivational, one of those random, disciplined motivational video. Just type it in and clicking on it and just doing that. That would probably be my best wellness tips or what I like to enjoy.
I love it. What's an audiobook or book that you recommend to everyone to read?
Man, okay, I got a few. The Way
Let's
of the
do it.
Superior Man. The Way of the Superior Man. I think every man should read that. Period. Point blank.
Love it.
I think everybody that thrives, that's in a relationship, or really wants to be in a relationship, should read the Five Love Languages. That's
Ooh,
amazing. That's a changed my life, changed my relationship, changed my perspective. The Energy Bus. I don't know who it's by, but that's a great book as well. The Energy Bus. Um, and I'm listening to Atomic Habits audiobook.
yep.
And I'm on chapter like 14, and that's just it's teaching me a lot. So I would say those four books right there. Those
Love
four
it.
are amazing.
Love it. Top song on your Spotify or Apple Music playlist right
Anything
now?
Drake. Anything Drake.
Drake.
Yeah, anything
You
Drake.
still rocking with Jake's new or his new stuff?
Yeah, certain songs,
Yeah.
but I've been on like, Drake is still my go-to artist, for, his older stuff, of course, sometimes his newer stuff, but when I'm not in, I've been really on my, my old school vibe, my Sade, just any kind of old school mix I can really get my hands on too.
Yeah. I love it.
Summer Madness, that's like my theme song of my life. And then Everybody Loves the Sunshine by Roy Ayers. Those
I can
go.
see you dancing it to it right now.
That's my jams, yeah, for sure.
All right, next, your view on men's mental health in today's society.
Man, it was one of those things growing up in a minority community. When you're a kid, right? We don't take it like if you like, oh, like something going on in my head when you were young. We used to be like, man, you crazy, kind of like shun it off or make fun of people that would say they were crazy or whatever. Like, man, you don't be crazy, man. You take pills, but it's
Yeah.
not a joke. I think the older we get, the more we go through. Um, we need to find that balance. Men's mental
Mm-hmm.
health is very serious. I think we wear a lot. We try to hide a lot, and we wear a lot of hats. And sometimes I think it's hard balancing being a masculine figure and being who everybody looks to for guidance and advice, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody putting their energies on you and wearing those correctly, and and we find a way to walk out and on top for the most part. But I think everybody needs a wellness check and somebody they can reach out to. I'm just blessed enough. I got friends that whenever I feel like anything, I could just, hey, bro, this is what I'm feeling. Like,
Yeah.
what you think about this? Or hey, just talk to people.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed enough to be that friend for a lot of people as well. So
Yeah.
I think that everybody, should take their mental health very seriously, especially men, especially anybody, but men, that was a question. So take it seriously, man. If you feel like you need to talk to somebody, cool. If you feel like you need to get professional help, do that and do it. Don't be embarrassed of it at all.
Yeah. The one thing I would say too for men supporting other men specifically is if somebody reaches out to you, take it seriously because you never know when you're going to be in their shoes, right? Don't dismiss it. Don't make them feel bad for for going through something like that. I think, like you said, it's always been, oh, we got to be tough. If someone else is being weak, let's call them out. But it's the wrong mindset, right? Let's support each other because we're really all we got.
Yes, sir. For sure. 100%.
Last one here. If you had any superpower, what would it be?
Read minds.
Yeah. Why?
I just feel like, thoughts and actions that come behind those thoughts, you could advance yourself very fast if you knew what people were thinking and how they were thinking and how to
Yeah.
get ahead with certain situations.
I
So,
like it.
back in the day, I would have said speed. I wish I could have super speed. That would be helpful too. But I just think if you had, just that's I like challenging myself. That's why I read books. That's why I want to learn about people, learn about individuals, and challenge myself. But the closer you can get to people's minds, will benefit you in many different ways.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, I really appreciate you being open and honest with me today. It was great chatting with you. Any final thoughts for the people listening today?
Nah, man. Just be you, be great, be amazing. Whatever you want to do in life, go out and get it. It sounds cliche at times, but really just put it all out there, because at the end of the day, you got one life to live and, thrive and try and go accomplish whatever you set yourself out to, see or do. Just do it
Yeah.
like Nike. And, I'm a Nike guy, but I really mean that. I think that's the best saying in the world. Just do it.
Yeah.
You might not, you might be afraid. You might, have thoughts in your head that say, "Oh, don't do that, don't do that. Why are they gonna think this?" Bro, just do it. Be you, be great, be amazing. Just like you with this podcast, I'm pretty sure you're like, "Oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna do this." And, oh man, you did it. You're
Yeah.
doing it. This is professional. This is amazing. This is gonna be one of the biggest podcasts in the world one day. And
I
I'm
appreciate
guest
you,
number
brother.
22, 23, and I'm gonna be
Yeah.
guest number 150. We're gonna bring it
Keep
back.
coming back, brother. Keep
Come
coming
on,
back.
man.
Yeah.
But nah, man, just go out there and go accomplish or go do anything, man. Just be a good person, and the energy you put out, you will receive it.
Absolutely. I'm proud of you, man. I'm really excited for you. You got
Thank you.
a lot on your plate, but I know you're going to do very well. So looking forward to seeing your journey this year with the football team. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate you and thinking about me and considering me for your platform, man. Thank you.
Thanks, man. We'll do it again.
Yes, sir.